meeting to order. Let's start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. We've got Northside Elementary to help us out.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Okay, well, just kidding. No swimming. What are we doing?
Yep. First off, we've just got to approve the agenda, so I'll take a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as published.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nobody's opposed? That passes? Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am Jennifer Majors. I'm the principal at Northside Elementary, and this is just a little snippet of our wonderful, amazing kids. They are here today to present to you our PBIS, Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. They're going to talk to you a little bit about what that means and how we celebrate it at school. But before we begin, I would like for them to introduce themselves to you.
Tyler Steele, 6th grade.
Ashley Dillis, 4th grade. 5th grade. Olivia Watson, 5th grade. Kimberly Funk, kindergarten. Emmett Peterson, 2nd grade. Elliot Swan, 3rd grade. Osborne Gillis, 6th grade.
The key and pause is for problem. An example of problem solve: if someone's being too loud in the hallways, you can politely tell them to quiet down or use hush notes. The A in pause stands for always here. An example of always here: if someone's sitting by themselves in a cafeteria, you can go over and sit next to them.
The W stands for work hard. For example, in the classroom, you need to make sure you try your best and do everything to your fullest ability. The S stands for show respect. When you're outside, you need to make sure you show respect to the supervisors by making sure that when it's time to go inside and they blow their whistle, you make sure you follow their directions. You can get a pause ticket for showing PAWS, and you can get them from any teacher, and you get two, and you write your name on one of them and put it in the bin, and then you get to take the other one home to show your family. The Friday Pause Winner is all about when someone gets sick and they take a picture and they get to pick a song, and then the whole school gets to see their picture and listen to their song. We have 4 quarters in our school year, and at the end of each quarter we have a pause assembly. A pause assembly is when our whole school teachers and students gather in our gym. Then each teacher calls up 4 of their students to get an award, 1 for the P, 1 for the A, 1 for the W, and 1 for the S. And then the teachers say a little bit about them and why they got that award. And then at the end of the pause assembly, either Miss Majors or Miss Watson makes up a fun pause cheers. For example, Miss Watson made lemons. P, A, W, and S. There are banners all around the school to help people be on their best behavior, and always note that they have to follow the laws. At the end of the year, Miss Majors will take 4 names to get $20 and 1 name to get $50. Every month, the special bulletin board gets decorated.
On behalf of Northside Elementary, thank you for having us.
Any questions?
Boy, I don't have any. You guys have any questions? Yes.
I was looking down right when you did the husky pod thing.
Oh, yeah.
Can you do that again? Husky, okay. I just didn't know what you did. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Thank you guys
Thank you
very
so
much.
much, you guys.
The board, we'd like to share some semi-nutritious and then some brownies with you.
I'll put them over here.
You guys go out and take your picture out there. Thank you guys so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Good job, Northside.
Yeah, we're all used to it. If you guys in the hall would like to come in, you can. There's a few more seats. All right. Now we've got the Homeschool Academy stepping up.
Thank you. My name's Elisa McGonigal, and I'm here with the Homeschool Academy. These kids are going to be presenting to you about our community connections. For those of you that don't know, we are 1st through 8th grade part-time enrichment-based courses at our school. We have about 112 kids enrolled right now. So, and this is, a sampling of them. So they're going to introduce themselves as we go along. So watch for their names.
Hi, my name is Theo. I've been a student at the Homeschool Academy since I was 6, and we did an A drop with Miss Connie and Math Science class, and I dropped my A from 200 feet in the air, and it's 5. And I was much bigger.
Wow.
Hi, my name is Van Cannell, and this is my first year doing Homeschool Academy. And skiing ride is very fun because I enjoy to go skiing and hang out with my friends and learn how to get better at skiing. So I'm very thankful for what we do here in skiing ride.
Hi, my name is Willow. I really like the skiing ride because I get to learn how to ski, and I get to ski with my parents. In the mornings, we have our lessons, and then we have lunch, and then in the afternoons, we do free skiing with our chaperones, and I think my parents are chaperoning everything.
My name is Peter, and what I love about the skiing ride is we go on a lot of these different runs and our coaches and chaperones. And we go on different types of runs and with our chaperone and coaches, and we have lunch, and I just think it's really fun.
Hello, my name is Liam Moritz. I've been attending skiing ride for more than 4 years. I started as a beginner and worked my way up to the second to the highest group level. My favorite part about skiing ride is that I get to not only learn how to ski, but I also get to ski with friends.
Okay, do the silly thing.
Hi, my name. I don't need to do that. Again. I went to Nordic skiing with this field trip at Pine Tree Woods, and it was really fun. And we learned how to get up, and it's called the dead bug. And I went around 5 laps. I've never done that before, and I got really good at it.
Hi, my name is Riley. At the cross-country skiing field trip, I had never cross-country skied before, so it's a really fun opportunity for me. The record was to go around 5 times, and I'm able to run 4, so that was a really fun inspiration for me.
When I went to the cross-country field trip, there were 5, when I went to the cross-country field trip, I didn't know how to cross-country ski. We learned how to go downhill, how to get up from a fall, and to have fun. What I liked about the cross-country field trip is that I got to try something new, and I got to ski with friends.
Hi, my name is Ira. I'm talking about a winter field trip that we did to Round Lake. And there were 5 classes. And the Scotchman Peaks Wilderness crew came out and was giving off classes for how to survive in the woods. And my favorite one was the safety one, where a crew member named Tom taught us how to not get lost in the woods, and he taught us something called STOP, which stood for Stay Put, Think, Observe, and Plan.
When I went to the Round Lake field trip, there were 5 groups. My favorite group was the bear station, where we got to touch bear fur. We got to distinguish the difference between brown bears, black bears, and grizzly bears. We also got to see how to use bear spray carefully.
Hi, my name's Daphne. I really enjoyed winter trips. My favorite was the grizzly bears. We learned how to be safe with bear spray and somewhere to keep it safe so when you grab it quick and fast.
We went to the gym a bunch, and it was just really fun. We were in all these different workouts. We played games. We did the obstacle courses with different people, and we did like bench press, different kinds of workout, and it was just like really fun.
Miss Allie comes over from the music conservatory and teaches us instruments like ukulele, how to drum on a bucket, and boom whackers, which are not a very common instrument. It is good to have a fun teacher like that, and I think that the Homeschool Academy Pixon provides fun teachers, good teachers.
The gym class is very fun and exciting. They combine hard work with end games of dodgeball, pizza box game, you name it. You can play tag. It's very fun, and you also condition yourself for long hikes. The music teacher, Miss Allie, is very funny, and she teaches us a lot of different unique instruments, and taught us not to say ukulele, but ukulele. And then there's boom whackers that are different lengths, and you just smack them on your thigh, and they make a noise. It's very fun. I already did that again. The pond was very fun. I came from Minnesota, which was a hockey-heavy state, and I was really excited that I heard that there was going to be an ice rink right by our house. And when we went there, it was very fun to see all my friends improve from holding on to these polar bears to skating without it. It was very fun to skate with my friends and hang out.
Had fun. I skated 2 times before, so I got to have the experience of trying out tricks like spinning, things like that. It was also fun for me because I got to try things out with my friends, and I helped a few people get off the polar bears and help them get skating around things without anything for a long time.
We go to the gingerbread house and we learn how to make like the base, the top, to decorate it. And it was fun also that Miss Elisa was helping us make the trees, the
fences, snowmen, and it was just really fun.
And that's all we have today. We also do the pay, I know nobody's talking about this, but we have the puppy reading program at the Homeschool Academy too for our 6 and 7-year-olds. They earn puppies and prizes as they read, and that's been a really great community connection for us as well. They love it. So, do you have any questions for anyone?
I do. 200 feet. Where did you launch this thing from 200 feet?
Outside in the school parking lot. And Miss Tommy's friend used a big lift that cut down trees and dropped it in the air.
Oh, holy, okay. Cool.
The height is a little debatable.
All right.
Well, I'm trying to get confirmation on that, but
Hey, it's in the meeting minutes now. It's official. Good job. Yes.
Knowing the owner is really clear.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Thank you so much, you guys. Fantastic.
Some partially healthy kind bars and fruit bars. Well, you guys can take them all, and then some brownies too.
Oh, is it?
And then don't forget. Thank you guys so much. We loved it. Make sure to go out and get your picture taken with Mary, okay? Thank you guys. You're up, Mary.
So next up, we.
Thank you.
Next we have Mary Jensen, the Executive Director of the Forestburg Charter School, for an annual update.
Hi everybody, my name is Mary Jensen. I'm the Executive Director of Forestburg Charter School. Lake Ponderay School District is our authorizer. We're one of the few left in the state that's authorized by the district, which I'm so thankful for. These are our board of directors, so we do have our own board of directors that we answer to as well. And it's like a whole new board after a couple of years. They have a term of 5 years. It's a self-perpetuating board where they vote to bring in people, because the people who are on our board needs to make sure that they agree with the charter and the mission and vision, because we're bound to that. Right now we have a total of 255 students. Our IEP students had a 6% increase since 2024. So we are at a 29% IEP student ratio to our other students. I like to just point out, many people think charter schools don't take IEP students. Here's good evidence that they do. We do not know why there's an increase, other than there's an increase statewide in IEP students. And so this is an uncommon trend right now in Idaho. We have a 41% poverty rate at our school, 2% probably higher than that. Now we just identified a couple more kids. And that year we had an 80% graduation rate. Our funding is stable. It's pretty much the same looking slides as the previous years. We only operate on state and federal funds. We do not, people keep asking me this, we do not have tuition for students. We are a public school, and we do not levy and cannot levy. So there is that's our fund balances, what's in the bank versus what we spend. So we're all right there. The auditors thought we were doing pretty amazing. So do I. 51% of our expenses are salaries, then the benefits, purchase services, supplies. ISAT data, we are above the state in all areas except for, what is it? Math. I should have known that automatically, but I want to show you why, and now we have rectified the issue. So now, so school-wide, our math had decreased from one year to the next. And it's because of our 6th grade math proficiency scores dropped tremendously. And that graph is wrong on the 6th grade math proficiency scores. So they dropped, sorry, it wasn't 6th, 8th, I apologize. 8th grade dropped tremendously from one year to the next, as you can see in our graph. And like I said, we identified what the issue was and it's now solved. So we shouldn't have that in this year's, but that huge drop, we tested very, very low. It was like 10, a little above 10% proficiency in 8th grade. As you can see, it's not the other grade levels. Because it was so low, it dropped our overall school score average down a lot, if it's only at 11%. ELA, that's language arts, has gone up. And you can see the ELA grade also in 8th grade had dropped that grade too, as well as the math. And then next year we're always working on different things, just like everybody else. So next year we are moving to semesters. We are no longer going to be on trimesters we used to be. We decided after doing some data research with our parents, staff, and community, semesters just made a lot more sense on the amount of time we can see kids face to face, as well as matching up with LPOSD a little bit better. We are going to remain on a block schedule though. This year the board has agreed that we are going to offer a STEM diploma at our school, and it looks like that's going to be the main diploma path for our students. We're waiting for legislature to make up their minds on what we should have for graduation requirements. Once that's set, then we'll have our graduation requirements also updated. We're excited to announce that we're going to add a full-time 6-12 theater arts and choir teacher. She's very, very talented. I cannot say enough about Rachel, so I'm excited that we can offer that. This year we started a new math program with in the middle school, a math tiered system. So when a student comes to our school, they are tested within Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3. Tier 1 would be 6th grade standards, Tier 2, 7th grade standards, Tier 3, 8th grade standards. So we're not putting them in a grade level math. They're going into where they test. It's been very successful. We've seen tremendous growth and kids moving into tiers as the year goes on. We even had some 6th graders test into 8th grade math standards Tier 3 by this time. So we're moving them along that way, taking where they are, move on forward. And like I said previously, we're upgrading our graduation requirements. We've been wanting to do that for a few years, but we wanted to make sure we know what the changes are on the state before we leave it on that. Any questions? Can I take questions from the audience? I don't know. Okay. I'm sorry that you won't let me have questions.
Okay. Do you guys have any?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
All right, thank you. You gotta go try it.
Sorry, Mary.
Good luck with the North Side. Don't give me one.
Sorry, Mary.
That's okay.
Mary,
Good
I'll
job.
share it with you.
Next year, right?
Yeah, you can have a cookie if you want.
Great. Dr. Murray, you got me. I'll just point at you. That works.
The green circle. I'm just gonna point at it.
Next up, we have Casey McLaughlin and Chris Taylor to discuss the Sandpoint High School pass system.
Maybe down in the bottom here. Right there.
Thank you. Perfect. Haven't done campus.
Okay. Board, thank you very much for having us. Again, I'm Casey McLaughlin, and this is Chris Taylor, Assistant Principal at Sandpoint High School. He's going to be talking about and presenting the Smart Pass. Hard to follow the kids and everybody else up here, but we're excited to present that. So.
Unfortunately, I did not bring a bunch of elementary school kids with me, so my presentation's probably not going to be as entertaining. But to start, we'll click on the trigger there, Dr. Mark. But to start, what was that? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. To start, I just want to talk about what Smart Pass is, why we need it, and how we're using it. Those are the three things. So first thing though,
You have to go right over here, Mr. Taylor. Just kind of that way.
okay, got it now. All right, first thing though, I did get to go to a
Threat assessment training in Coeur d'Alene today, and some that actually they talked about in threat assessment and early intervention and prevention of kids maybe possibly doing harm to other kids is that a lot of times they fall through the cracks at high school and they have no connections at all. And I really thought everything we do at Sandpoint High School we really view through the lens of building relationships and connecting with students. And so as I do this presentation, that's really what I want to convey is all the technology, everything we do is with that lens and trying to pretty much hold up to every student every day. So first off, it goes back to last summer. We kind of polled our teachers, took input from students, parents. What do you guys want to see fixed? What do you want to see changed? Particularly with the teachers in terms of accountability. They talked about attendance, they talked about phones, right? But they also talked about hall passes and the issues they were having in the hallways. So first off, their passes, the physical passes, kind of like this one, but obviously it says bathroom pass, they get stolen all the time. So we're making these things weekly. Also, when you're walking through and you're trying to tell who's got a pass and who doesn't, it could be a stolen pass since we've just reprinted 60 new ones every other week. So it's really hard to tell what's what and continue to reprint them. The other thing students really complain about is the sanitary issues of carrying that pass to the bathroom with you after some other student just carried it to them with the bathroom. And then if you do leave it out on the counter and it goes missing, then well, now you're responsible for a missing pass. The other thing that teachers talk about is classroom disturbance. So just the idea that we had, we didn't really know how many students were out in the hallways at one time. And it was really easy for them to, one, be loud, or two, enter a classroom, because most of the teachers that have problems with this are the teachers they love the most. They want to go see those teachers, right? Like, hey, I love you so much, like, can I come in and hang out? And they're like, oh, I love you too, but you really shouldn't be in here, right? And the last thing that I really thought was an issue was we did a really good job of trying to increase our communication with truancy. So connecting with parents like, hey, did you know your kid skip 4th hour today? Oh, I didn't. And getting them as much information as possible on that. But something we haven't talked to them about is, do they know when their kid's missing on campus, right? Like they're here, they're not marked absent, but they disappeared for 20 minutes. Like, what were they doing, right? And do we communicate that with them? So we looked into Smart Pass. The objectives of Smart Pass was basically communicate with parents, connect with students, identify learning barriers, and keep students safe, which I'll cover all of those. So first off, who uses Smart Pass? There's over 3,000 schools that use it. We're currently using it at Sandpoint High School for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Clark Fork High School implemented it beginning of this year. Is that right? Okay, beginning of this year. Coeur d'Alene School District uses it, and so did the Moscow School District. So Smart Pass does not GPS track students. That's not what this is. There's no trackers or anything like that. All it essentially is a digital log. So if you remember the academic planners where you would say, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom, or I'm going to, Miss Johnson's class, I'm leaving at this time, and then I return at this time. That's all it essentially is, but it's digital. So what that really lets us do is actually collect that data, analyze it, which I'll get to what we're doing with that specifically. But if you have 1,000 of these, I can't really go through and always analyze that, right? And cost-wise, These are about $4 each. So if you buy them for Sandpoint High School, you're looking at $4,000 to $5,000. That's if no one loses them, which if you've ever used these, you know kids tend to lose them a little bit. So SmartPass for us this one semester of testing it out was $1,500. For the year, it'll be around $5,000, right? So pretty comparable to using these planners. All right, so I did want to give you a quick demo of what this looks like from the student's perspective. So when they first pull up their Chromebooks, this is what it looks like. They just click Create a Pass. This is normally filled in where they're coming from, so their class is already inputted. In this case, we're just going to say we're coming from Mr. Baranski's class, and we're going to click on the bathroom. These bathrooms are already inputted to be the closest one to you, and then you decide how much time you need. They are limited to 5 minutes, but we'll talk about that in just a second. So when you start that pass, your Chromebook then looks like this. Your timer starts, and you close your Chromebook, and you head to the bathroom. When you get back, you just simply click on End Pass. Next would be if you want to go to another teacher's classroom. So again, we're going to say we're coming from Mr. Baranski's. And then we just pull down this menu, and this menu has anywhere to go from the office, counseling department, wherever they need to go. In this case, we're going to go to classrooms, and we're going to go to Miss Cessna's room. So the nice part about this is we can send our teacher a message, you know, hey, I just need to come by and drop off some homework real quick. Is that okay? You know, sometimes teachers are right in the middle of a lesson, they're doing direct instruction. It's really not the best time to walk in the door and drop that off. So this really lets the teacher decide if it's a good time or if they're even checking it. You can decide how much time you need to go drop that off. The teacher can also adjust that too. So if you put 75 minutes on there and go drop one assignment off, the teacher can switch that. If no one answers, if it's a really they got to go do it and everything's okay, the teacher's classroom they're in, so in this case Mr. Baranski, he could override it and give them a pass if he wanted to. But for the most part, we really want the teacher whose room they're going to decide that. Last part here is they can actually schedule a pass, so we're really hoping they start using this during our flex period or bulldog time, where I can schedule a pass ahead of time to go to whichever teacher I need to go get extra work in. So in this case, hey, we're going to go on Thursday. You know, I'm going to go see, well, I'm coming from Mr. Baranski's again, and I'm going to go see this time Mr. Gooding, if I can find the classrooms. And same thing, I'm just going to send him a quick note of why I want to come see him. So, can I come see you during bulldog time, which is our flex period? And send that off. That kind of goes to our calendar here. After I select how many minutes. And then you'll be scheduled with this pass once he accepts it. So from the teacher's perspective, or really any staff member that has this, our perspective, I didn't do a demo because I didn't want to have all those students, but it looks like this. So any student that's out in the hallway, their faces will appear right here, and it'll say where they're going to, which teacher, which bathroom, anything you need. You have it right here on your cell phone too if you want to, so when you're walking through the halls, you can say, hey, how's it going, Johnny? Oh, you're heading over there? Cool, man, thank you, awesome. Oh, also, it makes it really easy on teachers. So if we do have a student that's maybe wandering around the halls, causing a distraction, all they gotta do is press this little button right here, or click on their face, and boom, it reports them and sends that report right to admin. Which, we'll also talk about what we're gonna do with that. First part, how do we use SmartPass to connect with students? Well, we use technology to build connections, helps us identify which students are struggling. So in all of our, I'll use attendance as a great example. So with attendance, we really started pulling data from PowerSchool in our attendance program. We started discovering all these students that are falling through the cracks and no one was talking to, no one was intervening with. And it could be because maybe every day they're excused. There is no truancy. Maybe they're not skipping school, but what's going on with that kid? Can we get them back on campus? Do they have one trusted adult? Do they have a reason to want to be here? And it's the same thing with this. If we identify why is the student leaving class every single period for 20, 30 minutes at a time, what's going on with them? Can we sit down and talk to them? Oops, I might have skipped one. Communicating with parents. So the main thing here, you saw the 5-minute bathroom break. We don't want to limit bathroom time, and I think a lot of schools maybe get in trouble when a kid is abusing a bathroom pass and they say, no more going to the bathroom for you. Well, that's not an option. You have to go to the bathroom. You know, if you're an athlete, whatever else, and you're drinking water all the time, you got to go use the bathroom. So if you're going to take a 20-minute bathroom break, all we really want to do is let your parents know. If you're just in the bathroom the whole time, we don't want you wandering around school, you know, doing things you're not supposed to do. But if you're just in the bathroom the whole time, we call your parents and let them know, and they say, hey, yep, that's okay, that's awesome. We're good with that. We just want to make sure the parents understand that. Parents really have a right to know how much time their students are missing out of class. I mean, we're not really able to provide that. Like I said, if we had those handbooks, school planners, we would have to go through each one, or we'd have to send them home. This makes it really easy for us to communicate with parents about how much time they're missing in class. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, oh no, just my own story, just a little funny story. My own son, right, was a little bit of an abuser of this, and did not know. I arrived one day, went into a classroom, and my own son was gone, right, no idea where he went. I actually texted, I went outside and I said, all right, I happened to be with Dr. Meyer at the time. I was like, well, you get to meet my son. She hadn't met yet, and he wasn't even in class. And so he knows I'm telling the story. But sure enough, I texted him. He said, well, Dad, I'll be right there. Well, right there, and he was actually at the coffee shop down the road and coming back. And I had no idea, but when I talked to the teacher said, hey, I was actually about to call you because I was frustrated that he leaves all the time. This would help to stop that type of thing, right? Help to stop that before it started. And, you know, my own son, he just found his own way, right? But this would help to mitigate that. So.
All right, so part of using our technology to identify learning barriers, so I mean, I would love to come back and talk about all of these, how we use technology for our MTSS. We examine our ISAT, our MAP scores. We really look into our discipline, behavior, and attendance. We're able to pull all this data and sit down and go, really, what is the barrier and why aren't they successful here at Sandpoint High School? That's at every student every day. I mean, are they missing a bunch of school? Is it a certain subject? Is it tardies, right? Or something we haven't really considered, is it on-campus truancy? Are they going to class every, like, it's a kind of a blind spot, right?
Before you switch on,
Yep.
Can you let them know what MTSS stands for?
Multi-tiered system of support. Nice.
They're looking at the data of academics and classes that maybe they aren't passing, or if they are, where they just have academic gaps maybe.
It's a whole nother presentation.
Right, but
That's awesome.
I just want the board to know what it stands for.
Yeah, it's a whole nother weekly meeting.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So, oops. Last part here is just keeping students safe. So we have a responsibility to let parents know where their students are. And I already talked about it. The cool part is identifying students, learning their names. When you got 1,000 kids, you don't always know every student's name. I'm really good with students that I work with all the time. So if they have detention or if they have certain discipline issues, I know those kids really well, but I don't get to meet every student we have. This is really nice to walk by and go, oh yeah, I do know you. I remember you now. And then you start a conversation right in the hallway, right? So JD, he's been using it in the hallways as well.
Yeah. My number one is your kids' safety is my number one. And what I just want to know is with this whole system, it has helped me in so many different ways of making connections with students, finding out who's supposed to be in the hallway and who's not supposed to be in the hallway. I come up on a kid who isn't in my system, I say, hey, where you at? Where are you supposed to be? It's like, well, either A, they could be a kid from LPO for all, and that eliminates a potential person coming into our school in a way that, hey, a student's a student, we have 1,000 of them. It's hard to get those faces and names and all those for me, and then I have a name to a face now, okay? So that's what I really, really like about this whole system, and it really helps me identify a student immediately and then get them to where they need to be, or if they need help, if they're constantly on the hallway, I can say, hey, you must have been out in the hallway. What's going on? And then I've had kids in time. In that time, they show, okay, what's going on? They go to the counseling office and do that.
Thank you. And also, our high school is 30-some years old, and it's not really designed for that single point of entry. So as hard as we try to make sure no one's coming in, there are those doors where a kid exits, and you don't see if someone potentially comes through that door. So The last part, we really dug into this a lot, is the cybersecurity part. Told you Ms. Brasso was going to put your name on, or your face on here. So we really dug into this with the help of a lot of parents. So through all this, the LPOSD Tech Department has determined that SmartPass does not put student data at any more risk than any other third-party program that we use in the district. Mr. Brasso, do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, there was an extensive email that we went through with the company. You led that, but came back. They are stored in Google Cloud, which is ISO 27001, which is the highest location standards, really hosting standards. There is the highest kind of industry standard. As well as the data that's shared, it goes through an application we have called Clever, which rosters the majority of our third-party apps, and that limits the amount of data that goes out to name, grade, email. And then with this one, we also have their info, the classes they're in, grade information, everything like that that are transferred.
Thank you. All right, this also was kind of cool. We pulled this from our first kind of 2 weeks of using SmartPass. So we pulled the top 39 students who were out of class in that first 2 weeks. And what we discovered was 33 out of the 39 had a D or lower. 27 out of those 39 had at least one F. And out of those 39, we had only identified 4 that needed attendance contracts. So attendance contracts those are the kids that we work with that have really bad attendance, right? And we're trying, you skip school a lot or you just don't come. And so out of those 39, it was kind of our guess that I think we're missing a population here that we really could be helping and identifying. And after the first 2 weeks, we kind of saw that. Last part is, I just want to thank everyone that was involved. We got feedback, even just more recent feedback from the staff and some students. The tech department worked really hard, and the parents that brought up some concerns, and we delayed SmartPass to really assess those. It was a huge learning point for me. I mean, at the beginning of my career, I'm just a social studies and PE teacher. You know, I care about kids, and so maybe some of these technical questions weren't the first thing that came to my brain. It was more, how can I help these kids? If they're missing a whole bunch of class, how can I identify them? How can I go meet with them? And so thank you guys so much for that. Really appreciate it. And that's it.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I guess one of the questions I have, I understand the value of a program like this, especially given that last slide on the 39 that you guys queried. I guess my question would be, do we need that system to identify who has T's and F's? Secondly, we've got somebody who's leaving class every day, the same kid, the same class for 20 minutes. Why doesn't the teacher say, no, you can't leave class, or what's going on? Oh, this is a gastrointestinal problem, we need to talk about this. I guess to me, I don't understand the hands-off approach of, we're going to rely on a piece of tech when, mind you, I've never taught a day in my life, but if the same kid's raising his hand to go to the bathroom every single day and not coming back for 20 minutes, the answer is no. You're not going to the bathroom. So that's what I don't like.
Well, yeah, and that's, we do want to be a little bit careful limiting, like I get what you're saying, and but if they have to use it, we do want to make sure. And then I think we used to get, I got a bunch of write-ups, so I would say I'd get 8 to 9 write-ups a month for kids who are misusing bathroom passes, misusing that, because they're the really obvious ones. Yeah, we all see them in the hallways, everyone knows about them, they're not undiscovered. And that was really the question, is if we did this, would we discover new ones we didn't know about? And now we're getting 8 reports a day, right? So instead of that 8 for the month, now it's 8 a day. It just makes it easier on the teacher who might have 150 different students and they're in the middle of the lesson and they're trying to roll through it, may not notice, oh, Johnny's been gone for 20 minutes. I didn't set a timer on him. Versus, when maybe your elementary school teacher has those same 30 kids, you're going to notice when that one face you see every day goes missing.
Were you done? No, one more. The only other question I have, and maybe this is, maybe you can touch on this. I know there's been questions, you kind of spoke to it, but there's been questions about, what are they doing with the data? Is this data being mined? Is this data is it secure? Is it being sold? Whatever. I think I would have that same question as anybody else would. And I also understand we have a lot of personal private data that is very
very secure.
So there's three, it's like, how is data stored, how is it transmitted, and how is it destroyed? It's like the data retention policies of companies. And their company basically said when we stop becoming, when we stop paying, when we become a paying member, it goes into their data retention policies, which goes into their backups. They do multiple backups a day, monthly backup, and then they probably have like a multi-month backup. But when it gets to the end of their backup cycle, it's just destroyed. So it wouldn't be immediate because they have their backup, database backup. But within, my guess is going to talk to a company, my guess is within months that policy would be updated.
It was unless otherwise requested. So if we wanted it gone earlier, they would, yeah. Do it.
Trustee Peters?
Yeah, so I guess I was unclear if a kid, I don't know what word you're using, he's using that system, or she is using that system, and they don't come back within that time frame that they put on their computers. Who gets alerted, I guess, I might have been unclear on who's enforcing that.
Yeah, so that alert goes to, I mean, anyone with the admin access, right? But like JD would have admin access. It'd be anyone that was out there in the hallways, our whole admin team, any of that. And then just because I go over the time limit doesn't mean I get reported, right? I mean, I'm going to eventually pull that data with the analytics. I'm going to see how long you were totally out. The main ones we want recorded are when a teacher, one is I pop my head in the wrong room, or I'm running around the halls, I'm being noisy, or yeah, Johnny, come on, man, this is 7th time you still didn't come back. I'm going to report you today. So that's.
So the teachers don't?
The teacher.
Much of that at all. It doesn't get reported to them, that homeroom or whatever.
So they do the reporting. So the teachers are the ones. What we all can do the reporting, but on the teachers' end, they wouldn't necessarily see every report from every student. Those would come to us, but we report, the teachers report, and that's kind of how we document that information. So if we do sit down with a student for any possible reasons, we sit down with their parents. It's like, hey, here's some things to know about. They skip 3rd hour class all the time. Oh, they take a 30-minute bathroom break every day. We just have that exact thing. And sometimes when you sit down with a kid and their parents, they don't tend to always tell every little bit of truth, right? So you say, oh, it was 30 minutes. The teacher said 30, and they're like, no, it was it was 10, 11. And so now we do kind of have an exact number, or at least pretty close.
So how does this work in like PE class where teachers are on computers and things? And
Yeah.
the kid comes in there out on the field. Let's say they're away from whatever, and the child comes in there 20 minutes late. Locker rooms might be locked, might not be. Do they just show up in class?
So our PE actually uses iPads with a kiosk, and so it's hung in the gym there, and so they would just press that. And most of the time, you try to get, especially if you're going out to the football field or any of the fields, you try to get them to use the bathroom since you have access to locker rooms. But they do have an iPad where they can, so instead of unlocking the doors and going in there, they just use the iPad to create a pass, and they head to one of the unlocked bathrooms in the hallway. Yes, sir.
Is there a risk of kids playing tricks on their friends and logging them into this pass system for them?
Yeah, absolutely. In the kiosk, specifically the kiosk mode, for normal Chromebooks, no, because they would have to have their login, which is our normal LPOSD login that the kids use for everything. But on the kiosk, it is possible. However, they would still have to make themselves their own pass, and then the teacher also would notice, oh, this kid's over time, but they didn't even ask to go to the bathroom. And the main thing we tell the kids too is just because you go over time a couple times doesn't mean it's like, the end of the world, right? We're gonna come talk to you first, right? That's part of the connections thing. Like, hey man, I didn't notice you've been gone a whole bunch. He's like, what? I've been in PE, I've been doing this. We're gonna go talk to the PE teacher. Yeah. So it's definitely a possibility. So yeah.
So I have a whole list of questions.
Yeah.
So I always look at technology as what is the problem we have, and then will this solve the problem? So I'm understanding that the problem is storm and hall passes, sanitary, totally agree, classroom disturbance, and then parent communication. So
yeah, and I would also add, we haven't really gotten to this point yet, but we're hopeful that this also makes it easier for students to access teachers. Not just going and disturbing classrooms, but hey, I need to go see so-and-so during the flex time, or I need to go here, and that scheduling part I showed you. We're really hoping that helps answer that problem too, rather than just emailing back and forth and kids getting lost and no attendance being taken. We're kind of hoping that fills that Yeah.
So here's, let me start on my list. Take you more as we're going. So, when a child or student leaves the room, can like 5 people get up and do this all at once? Is there any limit to how many students can go from any particular classroom at a time?
Yes, ma'am. It can be limited. Yeah, and it's up to the teacher. We can set a school-wide limit, but right now we're letting the teachers kind of fill it out. What do they want? A lot of teachers have requested, I just want 2, right? And that doesn't account for like if I want to go to another teacher's classroom and I have that pass schedule, they won't account for that. But if we're just talking about going to the bathroom or going to get a drink of water, it would be, you can limit it to 1 or 2 or whatever the teacher would like.
So when a teacher's teaching a classroom, that brings me to the next question, can they set it where nobody should be coming into my classroom, I'm teaching during this time?
Yeah, great question. So that's the nice part about these passes is that you don't get the pass until the teacher accepts it. So if the teacher doesn't accept your pass, you don't get a pass to go in there. So if the teacher basically is like, I don't want anyone in here right now, they don't have to accept any of the passes. And so on their end, their screen will have basically all these requests if if there was a whole bunch, and they can just click accept or deny, or they can delay it or reschedule it, whatever they
So
want.
will they have to manually go through every one of those and respond at some point? Or will it just be wiped out after an hour? Or
Yeah,
how does that work?
yeah, if it was one scheduled ahead of time, they would, eventually have to unless that day goes by. But if it was for that hour, if that pass would just end and then the kid would have to request it again.
I'm just thinking the amount of having somebody have to be tracking and watching more technology instead of the classroom, click, 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 that would just, to me, be a huge interruption.
Sure.
I would not like
Yeah.
that. I guess my overall feeling is that I think a lot of times adding technology also adds problems. It's a tool, we can use it, I'm just concerned, does this solve what we're trying to solve and what problems we're having? So the thing that was a real positive is when JV said he can see who's there. To me, that's the big positive. So right now, if somebody's out there wandering around, do all teachers then have this at any time? Do they have to check it and then be like, oh wait, they're okay, they're not?
So yeah, that's a great question. So the teacher has 2 views. They can see just who's out in the classroom, where they're at, what's going on. And the teacher can also click over and see that same hall monitor view where you see every single person out if they wanted to. And so the really only time teachers will use that, if let's say a student came into their classroom and like, who was that? And go to that hall monitor view, they would see the picture and then report.
So in the past, everybody would have some sort of similar looking thing,
Yep.
which there's a chance it would be stolen.
Yeah.
But you'd be able to look down the hall and say, oh, they do or don't have this. Now you have to pull it up and, hey, you turn
It's
around.
super easy. I just,
Okay.
that's their face, yeah.
Or it's just that,
So it's more
And it says
technology.
you have 3.2 minutes left to get to class, or go to class.
So the 3.2 leads me to another question. Sorry.
No.
So as we're looking at accessibility, like, if the student, do we have accommodations built into this, like screen readers, customizable time limits, and alternative practice methods?
Yeah, so there's customizable time limits for students that need longer times. It's also kind of a cool feature I didn't talk about where if there's 2 kids that have a problem with each other, let's say it could be they don't like each other and they're prone to fight, you can set it where they can't get a pass at the same time, so that way there's no hallway interaction. You can also have the classic, well, let's my girlfriend and I get at the same time every day to go to the bathroom and meet up and talk in the hallway. You can set that too, right? And so when we first started this, we got a whole bunch of emails from teachers who were like, hey, I got some suggestions for you. Can you please do this for us?
That's great. Okay, so is there any concern about with these time limits and flagging students that it would disproportionately impact students with health conditions or disabilities, and that could potentially then violate personal privacy?
Yeah, so anytime there's a health condition or anything like that, we can extend that time limit. But remember too, if there's a kid constantly going over, we're not going to go berate them in the hallway or anything. Like, it's a conversation. Hey, how's it going? Like if they get reported, again, then we might pull them in private. And it's a conversation, right? That's where it's always going to start. If it is specifically a kid that we know from parents, anything else that they need extra time, we can program like when they go to ask for a certain amount of time, they can ask for more than a typical kid, and no one else needs to see that. Like it's on their Chromebook, they set it, they close that Chromebook.
So a parent could call and request
Absolutely.
a different
Yep.
time than that?
Yep.
Okay. And then is there a way for, or has anyone discussed having parents who would like to have their kids opt out of a different option?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really great question. Yeah, there is 2 families so far that have opted out, and our opt-out is to use a student planner, like the ones I showed earlier, and that's essentially the same thing. They do have to carry it with them, and they have the teacher to sign in the same process.
So that if they don't happen to close their Chromebook, what happens then? Like, what if I forget to shut that after?
Worst case scenario, a student could end your pass early. So that would be the worst case, right? But then if JD and I or anyone else were like, hey, I don't see you out here, what's going on? They're like, I started it. I'm like, okay, well, let's walk back. And then, you know, we could even see on there that it was started and ended after 15 seconds. We're like, oh, okay, well, you're good, man. Don't worry about it.
Just
or start another pass.
Yeah, or we just start another one right there on the spot.
I'm saying someone else could start the pass, right?
Yeah, but only to the bathroom or to the water fountain, something like that, right? Any other pass has to be teacher approved.
And just to speak that, my daughter, who actually is always in class all the time, she never goes out, but she had the same concern. What if I leave this open or whatever? And she said after a week, she said, I've had no issues at all. She said after a week, it was fine. She's like, I'm not worried about it. But she was one of the bigger complainers of the students that I heard. So she was like, Dad, I don't want this at all. I said, okay. Made some of her friends as well. But she said it hasn't been an issue for her.
One more question with that, and that's good info too. Is there any personal information in this program, like mine, in my system, if I do leave it open, and somebody could get on there right then, not do a pass or an extra pass or cancel my pass, but actually find information about me that nobody should know?
No, sir. Go ahead, Mr.
I was going to say, no, and I think part of digital citizenship is to teach kids not to do that because there are things in other programs who would definitely, they would not want to see if they left their Chromebook open. I wouldn't worry about SmartPass, I would worry about them. Somebody sending an email in their name or getting into their Google Drive or things like that. So in terms of digital citizenship, Chromebook open, they need to learn to be that shut, not leave it so that anybody can know.
So when deciding to do this and all the research that you guys did, you said that there was it Coeur d'Alene High School?
Coeur d'Alene School District. I don't think it's at the high school yet, but
Can you tell me how long they've been doing this? Is it more than 1 year, 2 years?
they're recent to it this year as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the schools I knew of had done it had been doing it a little bit longer. I was in Arizona, but yeah, it's still pretty new and recent to everyone up here. So.
Okay. No more questions? You guys have anything?
Oh.
All right.
I didn't know if Clark Fork, Mr. McGowan.
I was just kind of thinking of, some of our frequent flyers and, talking to some of our students today about it. They don't like it, and so I know it's working. Because it has really limited. We had some kids that were in, and to kind of go with one of your questions, kids were leaving every single class period. Teachers will talk all day to say, hey, Dave's out of the room every single class period. We just never had that. Now we do. And so now we can visit with them and find out what's going on. And, any issues with a kid on the weekend and they let go or whatever, we just get a phone call and we unlimited. So until that's taken away from the parent, we're just like, hey, this kid really needs it. And it's actually helped with safety because we have 7 through 12 in our humongous campus. We're not going to go into a lot of the stuff that GD is because we don't use picture because we get to know all kids pretty well anyway. But we have stopped quite a bit of the issue where kids would feel uncomfortable going into our one bathroom. And so I was opening that locker room sometimes, and it might be a little later for some of those kids because they just felt like I don't want to go in there with 15 or 16 people. And so now that has cut that down to zero people.
How many kids are students are in a certain space as well?
You could actually set a limit on, okay, we only want 10 kids to use that bathroom at a time, or whatever it may be. You could set over a hallway limit, and and you can set a bathroom limit, and then if I go to get a pass and the bathroom's full, you just go into a waiting list, a queue, and then once that kid returns or closes it, boom, you get to it.
At the first year, we tested on 8th graders, and they let them work it. They brought out all kinds of issues that we were trying to, we had no idea this or that. But they were bouncing to trying to go to the counselor. She's not available. So they would wander down the hall. You think they were leaving to go back to class. No, they went down to the ASO, and he's not available. And so all of a sudden, it's just like tick-tock, tick-tock. And we found a lot of holes like that we could tighten up a little bit. And with your grade report kind of thing, that was kind of tipping us off too. So, okay, we're looking at how many hours of class are they out based on the grades, and in this case, a little more information. Nice to sit down here.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you guys.
Okay.
Hi, Dr. Meyer.
We have a full meeting, so I'll go as quick as I can. As you know, I talk fast. Reminding everybody of our strategic plan. This was developed with community input, patrons, staff people, students. Reminding everyone that every student every day is the center of everything we do. Today I'm going to talk about the CTEC building that's going to be breaking ground soon, and letting the board know that it does connect 2 of the deliverables in the strategic plan that you've approved, in the prioritizing facility needs and offering increased CTE electives for students. So we're addressing 2 of those with our CTE. We just finished with our appreciation for CTE, and that's February. So thank you to all of the CTE instructors in our entire district. We did add the middle level last year, so thank you to Amanda Johnson that's been offering lots of opportunities for our kids at the middle level as well. It is an unfunded mandate, but we're still doing it, and it's been a great option for kids. I will repeat that we did get the ICRS, Idaho Career Ready Students Grant. We initially did it for over $5.7 million. I didn't get it the first round, didn't get it the second round, rewrote it 112 times, and we finally did get it for $3.5 million. That has been in the paper. Thank you, Reporter Welch. And this is just the why it was created. $20 million from Governor was put in for the first round, and then he added an additional $20 million as well. So thank you to the state for that. Anyone in the public can access this after the meeting, and I also send it to the staff. I won't go through this, but suffice it to say that we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We are waiting on a teacher, but we have maybe have an opening for that to be able to have forestry and natural resources, automotive and diesel, and also we've added marine mechanics. We would be the first CTE small engine marine mechanics in the state program if this goes through, so we're working on that. We are going to be adding sports medicine and athletic therapy as an option next year. Thank you to TJ and Sandpoint High School and East Crossingham. We are expanding residential carpentry and health occupation, and then we're going to expand other things as you can see in the future, and looking to include some new programs as we move forward based on high demand industry needs in the state. We will be having, and you've all been invited, hopefully all 5 board members can come. It's right after the retirement breakfast, the last day for teachers in our district. And that's going to be a groundbreaking ceremony on June 9th at 9:30 a.m. And we'll have industry partners there and just do a thank you to get the process started. It's a big deal for our community. This is just a rendering from one side. It is on the south end. So where you see that south portable, that will be moved shortly after school is out. We're going to reuse that in a different location, and this will be going on there. You can see here, if you see here, this is the current Sandpoint High School. Right here, you can see these are the rooms right now at the south end of Sandpoint High School. These are the 2 hallways. Here's the 2 hallways here coming out, and here, this is the current south portable. That's where the world languages, Spanish, are taught. And this is where the outline, that would be the base of it. So you can see this was the initial design. Here's going to be where ice and kind of drainage goes. There's an additional exit here, but it can go through here for safety and security from Sandpoint High School. As I've told the board, I wrote the initial grant to be added onto this building. We own 3.8 acres there. I really thought the vision was to put it here and expand into the bays and up into here and create a huge CTE, CTEC of North Idaho. But I was outvoted by the committee, which was actually good because they made some very strong, purported for, let's be closer to where the students are so that they aren't having to drive and we're wasting instructional time or bus time as students don't have cars. And so they made a lot of sense for us to put it here. We also, by adding it on to Sandpoint High School, it is a safe environment. So that was positive. Here's the side renderings from the architect. And again, I'm going kind of fast because there's a lot of people on the agenda, but you can access any of this afterwards as well. We, after the initial run through, and I did notify the board, we had a increase by 1.4 million because the costs have gone up, square footage went up to put everything in. So we are trying to make a compromise, and we have cut out 800,000, and we are going to go to the here in the bottom, shoot, right? We are going to increase the LPOSD contribution by $500,000 out of the contingency fund. We don't want to scrimp on the floor plan, but we've made other decreases so that we can meet the costs and still continue the program. So we're going to decrease, we're going to do gravel instead of the asphalt. The initial plans had an asphalt along the back, which does make it cleaner with a tiny house and automotive, but we are going to do a packed gravel instead. We're going to eliminate, you'll see the one classroom between shops. We talked to Jackie Crossingham, the principal, and they went down, and Matt Beal, the director of facilities, went down and did tours and talked to instructors, and we could eliminate the classroom between the shops. We're going to reduce the west sections, which I'll show you, which is residential carpentry program, and the tech lab, and then we are going to do sealed versus polished concrete, which is about half the cost. So we're going to do that to save money.
They went down and visited K-Tech to see what the actual needs are once it was built out.
Yes.
And they suggested you don't need all this cost.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. Thank you for clarifying. So what I just spoke about is this. Sorry, I'm just used to this is a new one. This, we're going to cut this in here, information technology 6 feet. Cut this in 6 feet on residential carpentry program. We still have enough room for the tiny house in here and to go out these 2 bays. We are going to take out this classroom here. The teachers are saying they can teach right inside these labs, inside the shops. If they need a classroom space, they can go to one of these others and trade spaces with one of the teachers if they need to. They also, these teachers will have a prep, so there will be a time that that'll be open. I do not, if we can help it, I do not want to cut this out because you can see there's bays here. We have the Rotary is volunteering. They're doing their golf tournament on August 28th specifically to help fund the equipment in this health OC program here. Bonner General Health is also partnering with them to donate beds and some equipment here for this health occupations program. So I really don't want to cut this off. And then with this, if we want to have engine, marine engine, small repair, and automotive, I fear that if we cut this off, it will be short-sighted. This is a long-term project, and I feel we will get our money back, and this is where we don't have to go out to the voters at all for any additional funds for this right now, which is important to note. Okay, any questions about that before I go on? Certainly can answer more at the end as well.
What for sure are you cutting off of that then? And like class?
The physical or this list again?
No, the plans.
For sure, we are cutting off this 6 feet off of here, 6 feet off of here, and this classroom out. Okay, you can see that this is my first time using this, people. I'm very sorry. Thank you to our think tank members. We just ran through it before the students showed up to practice their board thing. I would like to thank these teachers and staff. We also, Sarah Gosling from Lake Conroy High School as a counselor is also going to join. She's not on our think tank, but she is going to join as well. And you probably heard that March 18th, Tuesday, March 18th at 5:30, this is going to be our second Student Safety Summit. And this year we're covering the anxious generation. There's been a lot of talk, they've made changes at Clark Fork High School, LPO, and at Sandpoint High School on the cell phone policy. And I hear from a lot of parents who really want to be able to learn more about this. So I feel like this is a very timely, we've read the book, our think tank did a book study. People have it pretty thick, but if people haven't read it, I have it on audio book. It's very good, lots of new information. I think it's very interesting. I know a few of you in the audience have read it and liked the book. We are going to have door prizes there and give away books as well. I would really hope that a lot of parents can show up kindergarten through the PK, as long as pregnant on up, that you could really benefit from this program. This will be free. Thank you to Ednetics. They are going to partially sponsor this, and they are going to make sure that we can provide dinner. So when parents get off work, they can come straight here. We're going to have dinner. We did last year as well. And then free childcare. I'm going to have 10 students in the library, and then they will be playing games, not on videos, because this is all about not using the digital. So they will be in the library, and they have food for them as well. So it really is helpful for parents just come off work and be able to join. Hopefully the board will be there, our campus security officers, our counselors, and all of our principals will be there as well. So hopefully people will be able to attend that. I'm really excited about Student-Led Conference Day, which is Friday. It's one of my favorite days of the entire year. I just want to remind the board, it really brings together our student connection and students taking responsibility and ownership for their grades and being able to share with their parents what their progress is, what they're working on. And we're also increasing our partnership with parents. We have added 7th and 8th grade this year, as well as all of Clark Fork High School through seniors. So they are going to, all of Clark Fork and also Sandpoint Middle School have added to our student-led conferences here, so we're expanding it, and we're really looking forward to that. You can see that there. We sent that out to parents in the loop. I won't play the video because of time. It's 22 seconds, but if you have time, I would suggest you look at this video. It's 22 seconds and it's really cute. Darren has put together the video, but you can see what one of the parents created for this. So I thought that was kind of cute. We did do our annual staff feedback survey, and this is what the results came in. Looking at 202 responded, so that's about a third of our, a little bit less than a third of our staff. Of course, I always would like more, but we did it after Brian and I went and presented, as I told the board, and showed you the presentation of what we did. We presented and we did the survey afterwards. This is our overall rating. The district is 4.11, which is great feedback for us as a district. These are the priorities that they really wanted us to hear. So maintain competitive wages and benefits. That was the highest. The next one is addressing facility issues, which we've talked about that with the long-range facility planning. It's the very first bucket on our priorities for our strategic plan, and school safety, which fits in there. And then maintain class sizes. One thing I would also like the board to know, in the other comments, there was really 3 themes. The highest number of comments in other was, you have maintained class sizes, but we would like to decrease class sizes. So there were several comments that staff, even though I'm saying maintain reasonable class sizes, because compared to lots of areas in the state and in the nation, we have very reasonable class sizes, and we have small, rural schools that the levy supports. But there was quite a bit of feedback in there that says not all class sizes are what they would consider reasonable themselves. So there is that feedback from staff. The other thing is really continue to focus on student wellness and student mental health. That was another theme that came through, and the fact of making sure that we address the facility issues and with CTEC, and then some of the other buildings, not just Sandpoint Middle School is our first project, and so there was some other talk about it'd be nice to make sure that the other ones are coming up, which is in the draft 10-year plan. So that was the themes for coming through that. Just wanted to continue to tell you about our community connection. Thank you to Darren for the loop. He did take that picture. So he's doing all the pictures on the top of the loop now, which is nice. Isn't that beautiful? And for the public, if we have an Instagram and a Facebook account, and then if you want to look at any of the prior loops, it's actually in this presentation. You can link on that. I'm not going to show this because of time, but Darren has taken up videos, and so if you're able to see in the loop, we did go through what are the steps we go through as a district to create an emergency closure. I think there's a lot of great information. People don't necessarily know what all the steps we maintain to make sure that there's safety for our kids. So I would encourage people to look at that. The link is right there if they want to look at that, or if the board wants to look at it, please do so. I wanted to connect you, show you the community connection, one of our strategic plan deliverables. We haven't done as much on, but I said that we were starting to work on this year, is trying to connect students with nonprofits in the community to be able to build the connection and our students giving back to the community. So this is an Empty Bowl fundraiser, and they worked with, you can see that they worked on the silent auction and looking with Lighthouse and be able to the food bank. So I want to highlight that this month. Let you know registration is coming up, our kinder roundup, where we have incoming kindergartens and we invite the families in, and our registration is open now for next year. Those both went out in the loop. And just remembering that our focus every student every day for the board, the center of everything we do is our student learning, and highlighting, Trustee Wood is not here tonight, but he does have a son that is in this group, and highlighting that our boys wrestling academic state champs is wonderful. It is wonderful when we win events and athletic competitions, but even more importantly for me and for TJ, who is the AD, winning often on the court, on the field, or on the mat is his motto, and this is what we did with this. So I'm really proud of this boys wrestling team. It's a real big honor, and we have a lot of competition in 5A throughout the state, so this is a really big deal that we won this. Really big deal. Yeah. These are the board's 3 focus goals that the board decided last summer to focus on this year, reminding the public, 1 trusted adult, graduation rate, and student achievement. I will let you know, and we do have some Clark Fork students in the audience, 100% graduation rate for Clark Fork High School for last year, so a huge congratulations. Small but mighty, and it does a lot. Phil Kimmick, the principal, spends a lot of hours tracking students down and making sure that every student's at McDonald's. So thank you, the counselor and all the staff there. So a huge thank you to the staff at Clark Fork High School. And that's it. Sorry it was so long tonight. I had a lot. And I talked fast, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Matt. All right, moving on, we are going to jump into public comment now. The Board of Trustees welcomes patron comments from the community. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person and must be appropriate for an open forum. Input must not identify individual personnel or students, or be abusive, defamatory, or obscene. This is a board meeting held in public, not a public board meeting, as governed by Idaho Code 33, Section 5. Thus, no discussion or responses can occur during the meeting. Issues must be referred to the proper staff person or committee for follow-up per the board's discretion. Any complaint about the district, including instruction, discipline, district personnel policy, procedure, or curriculum, should be referred through proper administrative channels before it is presented to the board for consideration. Should a large number of the public wish to speak on the same issue or topic, you will be encouraged to select 1 representative to summarize the group position. We do have a handful of people to speak tonight, and we are going to start with Erica Borgenhaus. Sorry if I slaughtered that name.
So, do I introduce myself? Yep. Okay, I'm Erica Borgenhaus. There was a troubling incident at the Sandpoint High School, so I'm just going to say sport team. What should have been a fun and supportive team activity turned into an upsetting and deeply concerning experience for my daughter. During this team gift exchange through the high school, she received an unthinkable and inappropriate item, a used and bloody thumbing pad. Shocked and humiliated, my daughter watched as the staff took the pad, threw it away, and instructed the girls not to discuss or confess the incident. There was no immediate action taken, no questions asked, no accountability enforced. When I called the staff to address this disturbing situation, they brushed it off as a complete accident and even suggested that we would someday laugh about it. I didn't find it funny. This was a deliberate act of bullying, and it should have been handled with the seriousness that it deserved. Realizing that the staff had no intention of investigating or holding anyone accountable, I took my concerns to the school. 2 days later, I met with the school administration at the high school. They agreed that the incident could not possibly have been an accident and assured me they would speak with the staff. However, after their conversation, I received an email from the school administration stating that it was indeed an accident and that we should let it go to avoid further embarrassment for the girls involved. Just like that, the issue was dismissed. No consequences, no accountability, and no justice for my daughter. My daughter, feeling unsupported and unprotected, ultimately made the difficult decision to quit the team. She could no longer be part of a program that failed to protect her from such humiliation. To make matters worse, the staff has since begun harassing me at my workplace, adding stress and intimidation to an already upsetting situation. Instead of taking responsibility for the situation, they are now trying to silence me. This behavior is completely inappropriate. Additionally, I've learned that the school administration never recorded this incident in my daughter's school's records. By failing to document it, they are attempting to erase what happened instead of holding the responsible parties accountable. This is not just about one incident. It's about the failure of the adults in charge to do the right thing. The staff, who should have fostered a safe and respectful environment, chose to cover up the situation instead. The administration, despite initially acknowledging the gravity of the issue, decided to brush it under the rug. There should have been a swift and direct consequence for those involved, and the failure to take action sends a dangerous message to the students that their dignity and safety are not a priority. I am speaking out because silence enables these types of behaviors to continue. Our children deserve better. Thank you.
Next we have Summer Cantrell.
I'm basically piggybacking off of what she said. I didn't know if you wanted us to. Okay. Since she already went through what happened, I'm just a close friend, so I've been hearing, everything firsthand. And I know her daughter, and so just personally seeing the look on her daughter's face talking about this is disheartening because her daughter is very, very, very sweet, and it's just the look on her face. I mean, being a young girl, pulling something that disgusting out and having no support from any adults. This is not just a prank. It is not just kids being kids. It is an act of humiliation, bullying, and targeted cruelty. And yet the response from the school has been, at best, dismissive and worse, complicit in covering it up. We are being told it was an accident. With it being an accident, no one is mentioning at all how this is an accident. With all the women in this room, I'm sure none of us have accidentally thrown something like that in the wrong place. So it's like, if it's an accident, address it and tell us how you came to that conclusion, because there's been no investigation. Investigation for this. Let me see where I was. She was disrespected in a very degrading way. She was treated as if she didn't deserve basic human decency, and instead of standing up for her, the school allowed her to suffer in silence. No child should have to face this level of disrespect. No child should be made to feel unprotected. Did they have to leave their school just to escape it? That is exactly what happened. She had to switch schools. Not the ones who bullied her, not the ones who humiliated her, but the victim. That is not justice, this is failure. They're not sure if the girl who gave her the gift was the one who did this. I know her daughter was saying she would be really surprised because that girl is usually very sweet and nice to her. But the gifts were left unattended, and they're not sure if one of the other girls did this, went and put it in there. Because there's been other bullying before all this happened.
Even more troubling is the fact that there's no official record of this incident. And as far as my knowledge, I thought that incidences like this had to be reported and for record. The school was supposed to document it. They were supposed to investigate it. Instead, it has been swept under the rug, erased from her record, and is never, like it never happened. Besides how it's made her feel, okay, just the health, it's disgusting.
Thank you. Next we have Jen McKnight.
Hi, I just wanted to talk to you guys today generally about Chromebooks, nothing to do with the Smart Pass. I went to public high school, public school for all of my years of school, in the 80s and 90s mostly. I think all of us adults remember blackboards, chalk, radial textbooks, desks, and I don't want to brag, but I can read. I can read and I can write. And now kids are learning with Chromebooks, and it's said that they need it for technology and to keep up, but they are falling behind. They have a worse education than I had. They have a worse education than all of the adults here have. So I think that they're being failed. If we were given the time and the successful education, we should be passing that on. The teachers and the staff should be passing that on. And when kids are learning on Chromebooks, they're learning on something that also has games, it also has pornography that they can get to. We know that this is a problem in the schools. It's not just the cell phones. The Chromebooks have led to, I was shocked. I was shocked to hear that there are kids that are graduating from LPOSD who can't read. I wasn't going to school with kids who were graduating who couldn't read. Kids who couldn't read were kids that never went to school at all. I really liked public school. I liked riding the school bus and recess and the whole thing. The whole thing was really cool. And now that the school choice is beginning, it's got a slow, small start, but it is. I think that you're going to see more of it, and it's also surprising to me to see lower enrollment every year, just by a couple, but lower enrollment even though the population has boomed. And I think that now you'll see, a continued problem. I would like to see public school still be an option. I don't want that to be a lost choice, but you got to at least teach kids how to read. And Chromebooks, they're lazy and they're bad for kids. So I would like to see them should consider what it's doing to that generation before you're forced to stop. Generations later, consider the kids that are suffering from it now and not being educated.
Next up we have Dean Cannon.
Sorry to leave right after this. No disrespect, date night calls at 6:30, so I am on a more important clock than that. First, I want to say we parents have a lot to answer for with regard to how students behave in public schools. Self-discipline and respect for authority start at home. We shouldn't outsource this to public schools. Teachers and all leaders know that 99% of disruptions are caused by 5% of the students. But Smart Pass doesn't target just the disruptive, it targets 100% of the student population. Here's some verbiage from Smart Pass website. Reduce chaos in the hallways, prevent vaping and vandalism, monitor health and counselor visits, customize and distribute digital IDs in less than 5 minutes, no more printing cards. To SmartPass data is used to paint a picture and transform student behavior. So, SmartPass is about forcing behaviors. It admits it. And these behaviors are acceptance of surveillance, of digital ID, and to be comfortable having their behaviors, movements, bathroom visits tracked by technology. Today's students are tomorrow's leaders, and we can develop them in one of two ways. In China, there's virtually zero street crime because behavior is policed by mass surveillance. In Japan, there's virtually zero street crime because people police themselves and their own behaviors in their culture. We can either control ourselves from within or be controlled from without. And it's obvious which way something like SmartPass takes us. The book Anxious Generation, recommended by the superintendent, has entire chapters dedicated to the overuse of technology, the overuse of it, and its resulting mental health crisis in our children. If we want to solve these problems addressed by SmartPass, we could start with a total cell phone ban. And Pew Research says 16% of parents nationally favor cell phone bans, not just in class, but on school property. If kids have phones, they will eventually outsmart SmartPass. It's what kids do. They will find a way to do it. I don't think the administration is trying to turn schools into mass data collection sites or mass surveillance sites. They're just trying to fix a problem. They see a problem, they want to address it. I get it. But SmartPass does not address the root causes of behavior. In my thinking, it's kind of lazy policy. It's a bit of a contradiction to the anxious generation to tell them to use less technology as they get surveilled by more technology to track them. Additionally, SmartPass admits to collecting student personally identifiable information, and the district will be financially and legally exposed if such data is leaked or hacked. $50,000 per instance by state and federal statute. SmartPass, and this is my opinion, SmartPass is kind of meant for big city schools. I know Clark-Fort has it. But it's kind of meant for big city problems, and I think our beautiful town can come up with more original solutions that reflect our values, not SmartPasses. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
For the record, thank you.
You bet. I'm sorry. Oh, no, you're good. Stacey? Okay. Thank you, Stacey. Next, we have Nick Doak.
Pretty close.
Doko. Okay. All right. That was close. Thank you.
Well, for those of you that are rushing them off, man, I'll just say maybe ditto to that person that just spoke. That was pretty much what I wanted to say. I do want to thank the team that leads Sandpoint High School for engaging with parents. I do think it's appropriate the board reviews this, and especially if we have multiple schools considering it. I think it should be a certain point where the board gets involved. I do appreciate that you allow your leaders to lead and to run their schools independently and to utilize their budgets they have, so not surplus, but they have operational costs that can apply like they are in this case. So I'm not trying to ask that be taken away, but if this is going to become a bigger distribution event, like the board provides that input. I do think that big long email that was from me about all the questions. I sent a huge 27-question email to Mr. Taylor, which he did go and look at. I appreciate that. I do think there are some things that company could do better from a data perspective, and they're using standards that are at 1.1. I think missed 1.1, we missed 2.0 now for a year now. So I work in development, and I think that you have to manage your dev hours and your dev life cycle, and this company should be doing that to be bringing themselves up to the highest standard. I do think that what I've heard from the Clark-Fort principal and also heard from Sandpoint is that there's a small set of students that are requiring extra attention. We know who they are, the frequent flyers. I think I heard the term. That technology that I said in the meeting at Sandpoint should be limited to those students. I think it should be, in this case, again, limited to the students that need it most. This should not be a shock and discipline thing where everybody suffers, or where you're looking at the military style where unit discipline happens. Where you think, okay, we're all going to suffer because of these small group. Well, when you do unit discipline, you expect the unit to discipline those members. Do we want students taking matters into their own hand? I don't think that's the choice here, but make the ones that are doing the things right suffer for the other ones. Potentially encourage that. Last thing I'll say is that, and this is not necessarily the best example, but I'm going to use it because I think we all understand it. Every state has a DUI law. Every state that has those laws also has likely an ignition interlock device law. So if people don't follow the DUI laws, they get in trouble. When they continue to not follow the DUI laws, they get an ignition interlock device in their car because they can't be trusted to follow the laws. What we're seeing here is a similar example. We're saying, hey, look, we know a small subset, but we're going to make everybody have this smart pass, which is like an ignition interlock device. Kids that have straight A's, 4.0 plus GPAs, they're going to have it. They don't need it, but they're going to have it. And think of yourself. Would you want to have an ignition interlock device in your car to go somewhere you wanted to go because other people couldn't behave themselves on the road with a DUI driver? I know I don't. I wouldn't. And I don't think most of us want that same analogy brought to us or our kids in the school. I still think we could do this anonymously. If this is going to go forward, you can still put in there student ID, and I know that's much more of a challenge for the school to deal with. But if you're going to push this data out, there's still a way to do it anonymously so that we're not risking student personally identified information.
Next we have Lauren Dogo.
I don't know her. I've never seen her.
Hi, my name is Lauren Dogo. Thank you so much to Sandpoint High School for holding an initial parent meeting after you started to get receiving some feedback about the Smart Pass system. I know I can speak as myself as my youngest son is the last student I have going through the high school, and it was a really big surprise to hear about this system. First of all, because it was an implementation plan, and something like this that's affecting our kids' data and tracking of movements is something that I would have expected an opportunity to have a workshop or a committee and get parent feedback on this. Not just at the high school level, but overall from a district level, right? Is this where we want to go as North Idaho? I don't know, you tell me. I seem to think, my opinion of our community here is that we just want to live our lives and let live, right? And so when I saw this come out, it really made me think, wow, are we trying to be technological leaders here in North Idaho? Who else has implemented this type of technology? What other high schools are using it, right? And what I'm hearing tonight is Coeur d'Alene High School, which is twice the size of ours, doesn't have the system implemented. And some of that due diligence, when we went to the meeting at the high school, I found out hadn't been done. We hadn't contacted any of the other high schools in the greater North Idaho area or Spokane to kind of collaborate and see, wow, what kind of issues are you having and what kind of solutions have you put forth, right? And then after the meeting, having the opportunity to delve into this a little bit more, and it's interesting that the Chromebooks are coming up tonight, is you find out that Google's been data mining our children's Chromebooks and that there's lawsuits about that. And so then it comes back to the concern with the Smart Pass and some of that data mining and being on the cloud with a third party. How safe is it really? So my husband had a great idea. He mentioned about swapping out personal identifying data in favor of a numeric number, which would be like more of a compromise to protect the data. And then likewise too, he mentioned about the majority that's being affected, all students having to submit to SmartPass versus addressing the minority situation. And I think Vice Chairwoman Tanya Sherman, you had said, like, how about that technology? Is that going to actually be a solve-all for us? Is it going to actually deliver us a solution that we're looking for? At what cost? And from what I'm hearing tonight, I don't see that happening. For 39 students over the time period that it's been implemented, that's what, 3.9%, if that, of the student body. And now what are we doing then to, make changes? I don't know, maybe it's too soon to know. Lastly, or I shouldn't say lastly, I should check my notes here real quick, but there was no opt-out that was available to us. So that's really important because I now find out that you can opt out. So thank you.
You're welcome. Last up, we have Kristen Donovan.
school district to put a stop to the use of the Smart Pass app. Some, or maybe all of you, may be wondering why this is a hill to die on for me. I can see how it brings convenience to the school admins and teachers, but at what cost? Much of what I do when I'm not working my day job is fighting against government overreach and trying to keep a good head on my son's shoulders. With the adoption of the Patriot Act and so many other unconstitutional edicts, mandates, statutes, etc., we have become a surveillance and police state. Government has gotten so big that some people have become largely or even completely dependent upon Big Brother. Everything we do is regulated. Everything we do is monitored. We have to ask permission to do damn near everything. More and more of our liberties are trampled. We have traded our liberties for security and convenience, and with it goes our individual responsibility. Digital technology has played a huge role in this. People no longer think for themselves. They let the government or whatever smart device do the thinking for them. I want my son to learn to think for himself, that nothing worth having comes without hard work, that when you make poor choices, there are unpleasant consequences. And I want him to hold individual responsibility in high regard. I want him to learn self-control and self-governance. I view the Smart Pass as being yet another tool to interfere with that learning opportunity and process. Additionally, I see Smart Pass as conditioning our kids to think it's normal to be digitally tracked and monitored. That is anything but normal. It is mentally preparing them for digital IDs, social credit scoring, and all the techno-tyrannical garbage that we see in big cities and across the world, particularly China. I don't want that to be our norm in North Idaho. We should be fighting against that, not encouraging it. We should strive to be a beacon for liberty, resilience, and self-sufficiency. We should be raising up hard workers who know how to use critical thinking skills and understand real consequences. There is no reason the teachers cannot manually keep track of which kids leave their classroom and when. This is not a new problem. You know who the problem children are. You don't need this app to tell you. Give them consequences. We should not be putting 100% of the kids at risk for the sake of trying to control the 10% or less that abuse the system. I do sympathize with the school staff as they have difficult jobs, but I see no need for a new solution that comes with the security and psychological risks that this comes with. Not to mention, kids will find a way to abuse this system too. I find it a bit ironic that the district is getting ready to have a safety summit that will talk about the dangers of social media and excessive cell phone usage and declining mental health that come with them. Personally, I would love to remove tablets from the classroom as well. I'm really glad there is some attention being given to these very real issues. Maybe you can try to look at Smart Pass through the same lens. The fact that this software app has already been sued for data breaches is just icing on the cake for me. Please, I urge you to put an end to the Smart Pass, and at minimum, I urge you to send out a notification to all parents advising them how they can opt out if they want to, because many parents, I know there's two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to consent agenda, I will have your motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor? All right. Motion passes. We're going to move on to board action items. First item on the list tonight is the Clark Fork High School off-site prom request. The answer's no.
We were hoping we could have a dance off. I do not volunteer for that.
Thank you, Board, for having us. I'm Assistant Principal Casey McDonald, Clark Fork High School, and I'll introduce the junior class advisor and teacher at Clark Fork, Jill Engel.
Hi. So as advisor, it's a pleasure tonight to come request off-site prom permission. And so I have two juniors who would like to request it. And so you guys were going to talk a little bit about where we're going and what we're doing. So I'm going to hand it over to them. You can introduce yourselves and tell us what we're doing.
So we're Kaz and Kathy, and we're here to request for our prom, and we're going to do it on May 3rd.
Saturday, and I would just like to say that we're here today to request an offsite prom to give kids a better understanding and have that like last opportunity. Me as a junior pushing for a senior to actually graduate this year, I want this to be my big thing, having a memory of Clarkburg High School at a bigger site. We live in North Idaho, everything's a beautiful, wonderful place, and being able to go out there and dance with friends and small community members. We'd like to hold this place at Beyond Hope at the wedding pad on May 3rd. It's on a Saturday from 7 to 10, and all of our class does our own school funding. We go out and do like fundraisers for this, like we do car washes and everything. All the fundings for this and we have all the fundings for everything, decorations, tickets, like posters, all of it. But we're just here to ask you guys to pay for us to do this environment. And then our proposal is for class of 2026 moves to approve the plan to post prom offsite at Beyond Hope Resort on Saturday, May 3rd, 2020.
Any questions from the board? Yes.
On the last one on 2021, were there any problems being offsite?
No, sir. I had friends that were in that grade level, and they said it went beautifully, and they loved the fact that we drew the lake and everything, being able to experience our home lake with something beautiful and having it like
I actually somehow was the advisor then too. Hard work, kind of doubling up my proms. But yeah, it was a beautiful night, and there were no concerns. We had to monitor students leaving, right? Like if you leave the facility to go back to the parking lot to their cars, they were not permitted to come back into the prom. That was kind of the extent of our concern, and we managed it. So.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it. I like that it's close to where you're at, so you're not driving all the way into town. That can be a long night.
I mean, a lot of people do because they go out and have
Oh yeah,
and
I'm sure.
stuff,
I'm
so.
sure. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a great idea. Your motion.
I make a motion to approve the off-site prom request for Clarkburg at Beyond Hope Resort on Saturday, May 3rd, 2021.
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Next item on the agenda is the student staff calendars for 2025-26 and 2026-27.
I'm happy to answer any questions should the board have any.
I'm ready to hear it.
All right, I make a motion to adopt the student staff calendars for 2025, 26, and 2026, 27.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next item up, we have permission to surplus district vehicle and equipment. And we've got Facilities Director Matt Neal. Hi, Mr. Neal.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me here. We've got some district equipment that we're in the process of replacing with the vehicles. So once the new vehicles arrive and are in service, I'd like permission to surplus the 2 Dodge Sprinters. And we also have a de-ice spreader that we're not using. We're using a different method, which is working well. We were able to test it a little bit this winter and last winter, and much more cost effective. Are there any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. This stuff is ready to roll.
surplusing two 2009 Dodge Sprinter vans and one by Result of the Ice Spreader. Second.
Nice. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. That motion passes.
Okay, I think I'm on the next agenda
Oh, are you?
also.
All right.
So, background, we currently do not have a good up-to-code place to hold meetings or training, as we all could see here tonight. So we've done design work and we solicited for bids to build a up-to-code compliant meeting room downstairs. And we opened bids today, and the low bid is BF Builders. BF stands for Bonnish Ferry. And we recommend awarding the bid to them. Are there any questions?
I don't. I can see from some of the ones that you guys can hear, it's quite a disparity in the bid amounts on this.
I think the first two are within
Relatively close.
About 5%.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. There's an outlier there.
Yeah. No, I think it's a fantastic move. You know, we need to build that out. Like you said tonight, case in point.
And just to be clear, this room, when you folks aren't here for a meeting, this space is used daily, and a lot of the really key training that goes on for district staff and district collaboration meetings happen here. Yeah. And acoustically, ventilation, lighting, like we've got none of it going for us right here. This room will stay, so this would be a backup room. It'll be an additional space. So I'm confident that it'll be a really nice addition, and both spaces will still be utilized.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are we comfortable that the builders will stay with this price within a certain, do you foresee it going up?
Yeah, maybe a tiny bit adjustment. I can't imagine much adjustment. The scope of work's really small here. If anything, we would hope to find a way to lower the cost. I don't anticipate cost increase.
Well, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to award the district office meeting room project bid to BF Builders in the amount of $191.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, that motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Representative. All right. Next, we are on to policy, and we have several second readings of policy tonight. First one up is 3545 student questioning and arrests.
Just as a reminder, this was a clarification where we put some more language from the Idaho Code and did some definition for child abuse.
Next, we are moving on to 5415, other types of leave.
As a reminder, this is where we're adding the classified staff. The negotiated agreement already includes certified staff from several years ago. And we added classified staff for about half the time that the certified staff is, and that's putting this into the board policy.
I make a motion to adopt revisions to policy 57.5, substitute.
Yes. 5415.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next, we are on to 8,500, risk management.
5705.
All right. See, I'm blaming you. All right. 5705, substitute employment compensation. Yeah. Any other input on this? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to adopt revisions to policy 5705, substitute employment compensation.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. All right, now we will go on to 8,500, risk management.
And if I may, this was a discussion at first reading, when we asked about this. CFO Wallace did follow up and found out, as I told the board, that our insurance covers it, so we don't need to include that second paragraph there. So that is a change from the first time.
Okay.
Make a motion to adopt the policy 8500, risk management as presented.
Is there any further discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. That motion passes. Now we are on to 8510, district safety. New one. Completely new. Changed here. Any questions on discussed? All right.
I have just one thing. So where are these rules, where will they be, outside of every classroom, outside of every, as you enter the building? Where will these be? The rules for safety and prevention or
They're
accidents?
typically posted in the staff rooms and often in the copy rooms, and they send those to us.
Okay.
Posters.
Yeah, I think we already, correct, HR Director Thoretta, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we already post these OSHA rules. Is that correct, or am I not correct?
I think so. I'm not sure that we have to comply with OSHA federal. So I don't know anything else.
I can follow through with that, Trustee Demers.
Okay.
And then I can just let the board know where we're posting.
Okay.
Okay, quick question. I'm just trying to understand what you just said, that we don't have to follow OSHA rules.
We do. Yeah, we follow OSHA rules.
Okay.
Yeah. And Mr.
I'm not
Deal,
sure.
I think already Mr. Deal left, but we definitely are required to follow OSHA rules. The safety for our facilities and maintenance.
I have some other questions.
Right. And I will follow up with it. At least we can, I recommend we table it, and I can find out on that. Yeah, so it'd be great to just. Yes.
I would entertain a motion to table this until we can clarify.
I make a motion to table new policy 8500, district safety.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
It's tabled. All right, next we have cybersecurity plan and standards with technology director Matt Ratz.
We have one more policy.
Boy, that's over too.
Sorry.
8520.
My apologies. 8520, inspection of school facilities. Again, another new policy, top to bottom. Is there any questions, concerns moving forward with it?
We're currently do this, but the new piece is that the superintendent will share the results of the inspection annually with the Board of Trustees for its review and consideration. That would be a new piece for those of you that board.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion at this time for 8520.
I make a motion to adopt policy 8520, inspection of school facilities. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
All right.
You're up, man. For real this time.
Okay, so she's getting my slides moved over. I just want to say, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Dr. Meyer asked me to take a look at getting a committee together for a potential generative AI policy. We got 5 people together. We went through it. We'll go through the recommendations tonight, but then at the same time, I'm renewing our cybersecurity policy. And she asked if I would also just review that with you tonight, just to give you kind of an awareness of where we are in our cybersecurity policy and our cybersecurity in general. So just an overview of our technology department. We provide service to thousands of users, managing the data, security, and compliance in the district. We have a team of 9. So you can read how our team is made up, but we have over 8,000 network devices between computers, switches, access points, servers, cameras, copiers, printers, phones, speakers, beacons, projectors, our filter firewalls. We have 17 websites that we maintain with the help of also out in the schools. They do some of that too, but we manage the rights and any complex things that need to be created. And then we have third-party software, so we manage the data rostering, the data management, the rostering, and the support. And we have, with students and staff, nearly 5,000 end users. We break our team kind of into 2 groups. We have what I call our tech ops team. Those would be our technicians. And those are, we are managing our networking components. Our end management would be all of the devices we have out there, like 600 Windows machines, 50 Macs, Chromebooks, iPads, all those different things that people are using at the endpoint. We have our physical safety. That would be our lockdown drills, our speakers, our beacons, our camera systems, our hosted servers. So we have hosted servers for a variety of things, all the way down to our HVAC systems. We have our classroom technology, so what a classroom looks like with the projector, the desktop, the document cameras, all those things. We have our VoIP phone system, both the physical configuration and account and number management that we manage. We have printers, copiers. On the help desk, we manage a knowledge base for articles for people. We also manage a ticketing system. Last year we closed just under 5,000 tickets for our end users. We also manage the cybersecurity and the physical installs. The data ops team, those would be the people who are in charge of working with the student data. So application data management, like our PowerSchool information system, clever rostering, Schoology, which all the secondaries use Schoology. Our identity management, that's creating accounts and managing accounts for the roughly 4,000 students and the 700 staff. Our student records management, so organizing and the retention of records and the digitization of student records, and that's all hosted on-site on our own prem, so there's no exposure to the outside. You have to be on our network to get to that. We have our web filter and monitoring, standardized testing, and the reporting and compliance. So that's kind of with the data ops, those 3 people who are in charge of that are in charge of all those tasks. Our cybersecurity plan, the purpose of the cybersecurity plan is really to establish the policies, guidelines, and procedures for protecting the school district's network, our data, our systems from cyber threats, which as you read the news, you get more and more aware of how those are affecting all businesses. And education is definitely under the scope of a lot of threat actors out there. The plan outlines security measures in place and the response procedures for various types of security incidents. So you can go ahead and copy this, and we'll just go. So the networking and infrastructure security, this is part of the outline that basically just kind of goes over our network and security systems. We're spread across 12 locations between our fiber optic WAN. All of the fiber optic WAN comes into our central location here at the DO, and we have one internet, basically one internet 5 gig line that goes out to the world. So everything comes in and out of our firewall here and then expands out to the WAN. We have a backup line also. So if our main line of fat beam goes down, we can just flip a switch and we can jump over to another line the team provides. It's less, there's only 1 gig, but it would keep the district and the phones and everything up and going until that line, which we actually, you know, we had one of these, like, the first week of school or something like that. Somebody's hit a fiber line and we were down for a little while. That's what prompted us to get the backup. We utilize firewall and content filtering at a central location. We have wired and wireless devices managed by network segmentation on VLANs and our identity services. So when somebody comes in and plugs a computer that our internet or LAN hasn't seen before, it won't give them access to it. They have to have MAC address permission to use it with identity management, and then limited external access of VPN and ports. So that's would be through our firewall. Account security, so student and staff account security. We have student and staff passwords that are required to be changed yearly. We're upgrading the student passwords. Those are going to be 12 characters from grade 6 to 12, but we've done it in a way that they have their words like blue cow, 12 exclamation, things like that. That'll be at the end of this month. We'll do another cycle so that the student passwords will be refreshed this month. And then we're extending the staff requirements. We're going through that of what the staff requirements are going to be. Multi-factor authentication, administrative assistants, counselors, tech department, anybody who has access to more secure data has been set up with MFA now. And then we haven't implemented that at the teacher level because it's really, it's their data is for just their students and it's limited what they can see. We're trying to think of a way that we can implement that without making it too much on the teachers every time they try to log in and trying to figure out the multi-factor authentication.
Yeah.
So that's something that's on the future horizon. So, and then phishing training. We have a phishing training that we reset each year that teachers have to take. Active phishing tests are sent out each month, and I can happily say in the last 5 months, I think we've had 3 clicks. In the first year we did it, it was 20-some clicks per month. And I don't know if it's teachers are afraid of phishing or afraid of having to take the test that's required when they fail it. So either way, I'm happy with it. And then account triggers are set to notify teams of any anomalies. An administrator password is trying to be changed, things like that. We receive notifications from. End user device security. This part of the plan talks about ensure the end user, their devices. So Windows-based PCs have Endpoint Manager, Windows Defender, Macintosh, single sign-on with MFA now. Tablets are centrally managed and updated for security. So iPads, we have a central management server that manages those. Personal devices are restricted to guest Wi-Fi. Staff can bring their own devices and they have their own channel, a BYOD channel that they can log on to that has enhanced, has relaxed security, but it's still more secure than if you're one of our district devices. And then an identity server, like I talked about before, you have to be an identified address from every device has an address, like a street address. It's called a MAC address, and you have to have the identified MAC address before you can get onto our network, whether it's wired or one of our higher channels. And then we have servers. We have a whole server farm, and the security through the domain controller, role-based access control, restricted RDP, and nightly backups. Our incident response plan. So the 3 questions we ask ourselves if there's something that happens: is confidentiality compromised? Is system integrity compromised? Is system accessibility compromised? If that happens, this is the team. And so we have, incident manager would be myself, the technical lead would be our network engineer. We have a security team, all of our field technician, our tech ops team would make up the security team. The data ops team is the data management team. The communication and legal, our superintendent, our DLT team, and our COO. And then additional help. If it were something that were massive and we had to go to every school and touch every computer, then people like Alex Gray and people in the community or in our school community who have the technology know how to help, we would pull them in on that team. Incident response plan, the post-incident response, this is just if we have something that happens, we go through the incident and we find the root cause. And this is the part where analysis, remediation, fix it. Communication and documentation, get the communication out to the community and document it for future use. What happened, why did it happen, how do we patch it, and how do we make sure that it doesn't happen again? I'm not so confident or arrogant to say that this can't happen to us. There are a lot of even security teams out there, security companies have been attacked. our goal is just to continually be ahead of the wave and try to prepare ourselves as much as possible and try to plug every hole that we can. You know, there are things called 0 day, which nobody knows about. Those exploits are the ones that keep you up at night. So our backup and disaster recovery, just to quickly go through it, we have our servers downstairs. Those are backed up to Sandpoint High School. We have another server at Sandpoint High School where we do our backups to Sandpoint High School so that we have them redundant on 2 on-site district locations. And then at night, we have stepped backups, basically, that go out, and we have daily backups that go for 30 days, monthly backups for 12 months, and then annual archives for as long as the data holds. We have a certain amount of data with a company called Wasabi. Those are encrypted backups. And then in our plan, every quarter we pull down those backups to make sure that they can be restored, that there isn't a problem with them. And then the goal is recovery time objectives, our time to get data back. If something happens on our server, our goal is to be up within 4 hours. And our recovery point objective, how much data we could potentially lose, we want to be 12 hours or under of data loss. Security awareness training is another part of our cybersecurity plan. Like I talked about, the phishing simulations, the cybersecurity awareness, and what that is every year I reset in a company with a company called KnowBe4. I reset, and every staff member gets a message saying you have a tech training you need to complete. And so every August we reset that, and so they have the latest and greatest. It's about a 22-minute course that they go through, and it's a pretty good course, just for your basics. Student digital citizenship standards with resources sent to teachers yearly. So our goal on this is we're trying to think about how can we get digital citizenship information out to kids. This is the reality. This is their world that they're growing up in. How can we teach them what personal information is, what good digital citizenship, what cyberbullying looks like, all of those different things. So we found a digital citizenship standards, and what we're trying to do is compile a list of resources that we can send out to teachers every year. If you're a kindergartner, this 4-minute video that just is really, let's talk about your Chromebook, if the teacher's even using a Chromebook that year. Like if we jump to third graders, these are the things that third graders may start to see. So let's address them now and create conversations that they can have, and if teachers need to, then they can invite us out if they want their class to have more information on it. But we're just getting this, the AI and the cybersecurity that brought this to our attention, so we're starting to put it together now. And then role-based security training, specialized cybersecurity training provided for administrators, IT staff, and employees handling sensitive data. This is what the citizenship standards look like that we found. So we have online safety, ethics, policies, and legal issues. And we can go into all those, but those are the broad generalizations, and then they're broken down by class. And then upcoming security projects, finalize our security plan, third-party application compliance report. So that is all of the third-party applications that we currently use in the district, like the PowerSchool or Skyward or Schoology. Going through an audit on those, and we're probably about 50% through with this right now because we just added some more to it. But it rates the sites by their certifications, their physical security at their co-location, their exposure, and what data is available and what their data destruction policies are. We're also setting up a security information and events manager. It's a server that will be installed here locally, and it allows real-time logging of network traffic. And this is at a macro level, not at a micro level. This is basically looking for anything that's happening inside the network that shouldn't be. Or is there a certain port that's getting hit that 10 times more than it was a few hours ago? Is there a piece of software being installed on a Windows machine that shouldn't be, that falls under the malicious-ware, things like that? Then we get instant notifications from it, and we can take actions right away instead of having to wait for a teacher to contact us that their computer is blaring or blinking at them. And then our compliance and certifications. We are currently working on industry-level compliance for the tech department, and these are third-party audits that that we, like third-party and first-party audits the company, and we run reports ourselves, and we come up with graded scores. And then as we get to a certain level, we have a compliance certification, and we're in the process of doing that right now. And then our team is also going through individual certifications to gain more in cybersecurity. These are just some organizational resources that we utilize. Before I jump to the AI, are there any questions on this portion?
No.
Okay. I'm trying to get there. All right. So when we get to our proposed Gen AI policy, this is the student side. We try to make a policy that outlines the specifics of it and then really gives the teachers in the classroom levels that they can adhere to with AI policy. So permitted uses for students: researching and brainstorming, summarizing, practicing language skills. Examples of this: I need topics for an essay, or summary of a difficult to understand text passage. Prohibited uses would be saying that generative AI was your work, plagiarism. Using AI generated inappropriate for harmful or illegal content, sharing personal or sensitive information. That's something I don't think people think about with AI as much, but copying, pasting information that has your personal information in it. Following the example of prohibited uses, using AI to cheat on quizzes, tests, exams. Expectations: students must cite their AI tools, and there are plenty of tools out there, and we're putting together a list for teachers of resources, but will help them cite in an AI world. And AI tools should not replace genuine learning efforts, but may supplement and enhance the educational process. And the consequences, the violations of this policy will be treated under the district student conduct code. I know you guys all have a copy of this. So for staff, the permitted uses: supporting lesson plan development, automating repetitive administrative tasks, assisting in differentiating instruction. Prohibited uses: relying solely on AI to assess student performance, using non-approved AI tools to process and store sensitive student or district data, generating content that undermines the integrity of curriculum. Expectations: staff must review and edit all AI that they use. Same with students, you can't just copy and paste. Any use of AI must comply with the privacy laws and district data security protocols. Staff must not input sensitive student data into the AI platform and must model ethical AI use. And then if we jump to the next slide, this is what we came up with, and this was something that Dalton Hawkins went to IATA, and there was a few schools down there that were using the same type of thing. And we have, at the classroom level, a teacher can decide that I want to have, mine is a red light, no AI, you cannot use AI in my classroom for anything. We strip it off the board. And then you have yellow light, AI assisted. Teachers may want to allow them to, again, find topics for a paper that they want to write, or help with an outline. AI is used for tasks specified by the teacher. You don't understand that problem? Put it into AI and let's see what AI does. I actually have a teacher who was talking to me about this. A kid was at home sick, put in some of the math problems and came back the next day, and the kid's like, I'm amazed at how I don't feel like I fell behind because it explained it to me and I was able to do the assignment. And then there's green light, AI enhanced. AI is used interactively throughout to enhance your knowledge, efficiency, and creativity. I mean, in my mind, I can see a lot of people falling in this yellow zone and a few into the red based on what I've seen. When they talk about red and say, well, how can you possibly do that? Well, you have to change your teaching style, or like somebody was talking about earlier, maybe go back to a teaching style before. Put your Chromebooks away. Pull out a pen and paper, and there's other ways you have to do it, but you have to strip the technology away and see what they really know and try to figure out what they've learned in that regard. So those are the tools and policies and procedures we're trying to help teachers.
Yeah. All right. That is context for the first draft of the AI policy. So that was that piece of it was. And I would like to publicly thank Mr. Brass, and we have people in the audience that served on the committee with him. So I appreciate. Thank you for being part of that.
Okay. Questions? Good?
I'm good.
All right.
I did have one. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. No,
I know it's
please.
long, but welcome. So if there is a breach of those policies, like they're using AI for something they shouldn't have, whether staff or student, is our tech department, are they notified right away? How does that, is it like any other website? you know, how will we know that
So
we're breaching that?
that's a good question. And there's ways through our filter that we can block out a lot of AI. You know, just like any other websites, we can say, okay, we have AI that has been approved and that hasn't. But in terms of how somebody is utilizing it and using it, it's really hard to find, quite honestly, right now. The tools that are in play
Can you use the AI to find the AI?
AI to find the AI.
It's gonna be AI.
It really, so here's what the difficult part about AI, it's like we're having a conversation, you ask me a question, and I answer it a specific way. If you ask me the same question tomorrow, I might hit the main topics, but I may not answer it in the same order and in the same way, and I might add something to it and I might leave something out. AI does the same thing. And you can take a piece of your writing, if you have a multi-page piece of your writing, and paste it in and say, I'd like to write about this, please do it in my, in my style. And it will, it'll write that out. So it's really hard to find. And the tools out there to find it, they say, yeah, our tool works between 40 and 70%. The tools out there to find it really aren't that good. So you really have to, if you really want to assess what people have, you really have to remove them from the possibility of utilizing AI and testing and assessing that way. In terms of finding out, through staff and things like that, it would just be, there's no real clean way to do it right now, quite honestly. Yep.
All right. That was a lot. You guys have a huge task. Thank you for all the hard work. We're going to move on to first reading of policy. Our first policy up is 8705, generative artificial intelligence.
So again, this is he got a committee together, he came and put this together, and he already described it. So if you have any suggestions or things you'd like to change, it'd be great to know.
Sorry, point of reference, this is all new. It's not highlighted, so I figure that's a little harder to read on such a long policy, a longer policy.
I think, the questions I have on this stuff is in the same vein of what Jalen was talking about. It's like, how do you know? And I'm sure that this is going to be a constant battle of trying to, people are going to use AI to write papers. It's going to happen.
Well, Jalen went to a workshop
That's
about
right.
this, and we didn't have a policy, and he said we should start to look at a policy, so that's what initiated this discussion and the work.
And I will say that the guy running the workshop went into 3 groups about are you red light, yellow light, green light? The guy running it went to the red light. So I was like, I had my feelers up about AI because the guy doing the workshop to us was basically saying he's not sold on it.
I feel like anything, there's going to be good actors and bad actors.
Take it for what it
There's
is.
going to be good programs and bad programs. I can speak personally in my industry. There's a lot of AI development going on, as there is in every industry in the world right now. It is not going away. There are fantastic tools that come out of it, and there's going to be abuses. So I think it's appropriate that we're.
I have a question. So, and I probably should have addressed it before, but if teacher says, okay, red light, and he or she has 30 students in the class, how do they know they're not doing green light on their computer? Can they shut everything off, or?
We have a program called Classwise, where you can whitelist specific websites that the kids are allowed to go to. So when they come into your class, you have your whitelist ready, you load the class up and start it. And if you're on a district Chromebook, then it limits things where
That's the only place they can go?
It's the only place they can go.
I did have one policy issue. Not so much like the AI itself, but just the wording in here.
Okay. What do you got?
2D double I don't know how you say that, but
Right here?
prohibited uses, if you go down to D and then the second one there. Generating content that violates school policies. Examples are hate speech, cyberbullying, and inappropriate materials. I think in the letter of the law, and then there's the spirit of the law. I get the spirit of the law to to me, letter of the law, when you say hate speech is, in our world today, is very broad, and I don't think that's enforceable. And if it is enforceable, it's going to be, again, speech that's hated speech, but not hate speech. You see the difference?
Yeah.
It's very big topic in our world today, and I just don't love that particular phrase. Cyberbullying, fine. Inappropriate materials, obvious, but hate speech, I think that we should either rephrase that or get rid of it, or that's just.
Yeah, I mean, to that, like, I mean, we have policies that cover hate and bullying and violence, and which hate speech, I agree with you, is a massive hate speech according to them.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure, I don't have an answer to what I'm saying. I'm just saying I would like maybe some input on
yeah.
getting rid of
Are we
that.
saying that possibly that could, you know,
Just remove that.
basically,
Yeah,
what I
First
say,
Amendment rights, yeah.
what I say might not be hate speech, but you may take it as hate speech. But it can also, you know, you already have cyberbullying, so maybe that takes that up.
Well, generating content that violates school policies.
To me,
Right there.
well, yeah, and to me,
If you violate a school policy, which any of these items are covered in a school policy.
I
Right?
like having the examples, but you could just put cyberbullying or inappropriate.
It is examples, it's not listing it as policy
Yeah,
or
that's
examples,
true.
so maybe just removing that and leaving them as examples. Or that.
I'm not opposed to it.
yeah, so just removing the hate speech part.
That would be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other?
Any other?
That's all I have on that.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
So I'm just nitpicking, but I felt like number 4, consequences is redundant to compliance and enforcement. It's better.
Where is the compliance?
It's down lower, it's a whole separate section past the staff
Oh,
section.
got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I think she's saying this consequences here is redundant with just this enforcement part here. Number 1. This part, I think, is new, the regular, so we could take out either number 4 here or not have enforcement in number 1.
Well, I think that the compliance and enforcement is for both sections above. So it's for both the staff and the students. So if I was going to remove it, I would leave it for.
And
both.
remove this number 4?
On the specifically, yeah.
It just-
It is, it makes it sound like it's specific to students' abilities.
Yep. Okay.
Good nitpick.
Yep.
Way to go.
Okay.
All right, well.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, thank you. Let's move on to 5460, workers' compensation benefits.
And HR Director Greta Short is here to discuss this.
So I have just a question on number 2, the employee or supervisor shall possibly remediate the hazardous condition. If remediation is not possible, the employee shall report the hazardous condition, so it can be remediated as soon as possible. I'm wondering if you wanted to add, if remediation is not possible, and then it says shall report or contain, I don't know what that's saying. There's one thing where you can remove it, remediate it, but there's also shut the door on your way out, make sure no one goes out.
Right.
There's something in the word contain.
This was ISBA policy, model policy that I copied.
Because there's a gap between remediate and. So that's, I would just say, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
That's just.
Or
I think that's tough. Am I able to comment on that?
Yeah.
I just think that's tough to agree with you.
Like block or, there might be a better
I don't know.
word.
In certain instances, like I hear what you're saying.
Supervise.
If you put it into policy, like, hey, you have to do this, what if it's something they can't do? If something
Right,
else
no.
happens.
That's what it's like, if it's not possible,
Yeah.
it promptly remediate.
What if you just put monitor, like report and monitor, like they can just be a presence to watch, but they don't have to do anything, or is that not even possible?
There's so
Well,
many different things
it's
that can follow.
as soon as possible. I mean, of course, I mean, if it's possible, think about a slip or trip or fall, and somebody's like, a wet mop bucket is in the way, and hopefully somebody can grab a cone or something, or put something there so that nobody else slips there. I think that's the way that I would interpret it. It's like, if it's available, if somebody can, but obviously if somebody's fallen from a ladder, there's not a lot that can be done right then, you need to call 911.
See, and that's where you and I are on the same page on that one in terms of, so if you can't clean it out, it's a huge spill, and you report it, is there something you can do in between to visually block off?
Yes.
You know, it decrease the exposure to others.
Right.
I'm not sure the right language is, but
Yeah.
that's just my initial thought, is there a step in between there that would be,
So I guess we can,
probably just something to look
yeah,
at?
Yeah.
perhaps we can discuss this
Yeah.
in between now and next meeting.
Number 4, the injured employee will report to Monitor General. Is that a requirement that they must go there, or are they also eligible to go to like TV or a different location?
That is our contract.
That's your contract?
Yeah, that's our first report.
And then number 6, there was a question, do we have a procedure or an investigation document created that's consistent for the application?
We don't, it's a phone call, and basically, it's between me and the state insurance fund. They just
they have
ask
the questions?
questions. I answer the questions.
All right. Any other input? No? Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Last but certainly not least is 3515 food allergy management.
I was just gonna say that I think those comments should be better highlighted. That's it, that's all I have. Maybe blue.
Who said that? Yeah, we've got some grammatical errors, or some grammatical changes here. The main addition obviously being this section at the end. Does anybody have any input or questions, suggestions? All right, let's move on to administrative announcements. I got it. Oh, come on.
Well, I always have something. Let's see, our students were down in Pocatello last week for our HOSA, which is Health Occupation Students, and we had one that got second place in CPR and second place in Vet Tech. We had another group who was down for BPA, Business Professionals of America, in Boise, and we had 7 students qualify for nationals, so they'll be prepping for that. And we have our Academic group heading to Rexburg, and hopefully they'll be performing as they traditionally do, which is very well, and heading off to nationals after that as well, too. So lots of students doing lots of great things at San Point High School. Thank you to all of you for all your support.
Mr. Clary, do you have
Yes.
anything?
Spring sports. Here we
took-
go.
I stole your thunder.
I know,
Yeah, you
I
did.
did,
That was a good
that wasn't
one.
my thunder too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of that.
Chairman, I just want to add one more. Chairman,
Oh,
if I could
sorry.
add one more. I don't think anybody has anything else, but I do want to say congratulations to Jay Rotzi, so the JROTC.
Yeah.
And prior today, you'll see it on your next board report, Kyle Olmsted for that program, and lots of interest from 8th grade or 11th grade, so we're super excited to do the second one. Thank you to reporter Eric Welch for doing that nice article in the paper. I just appreciate it, and Darren's help putting that all together. It's going to be I think it's going to be a real benefit for our community, so super excited about that.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
All right. This meeting's adjourned.